Hey, what's up, everybody? Corey Dowes with Aris Realty here again. Wanted to touch base with some sellers in this one. I know I've been doing a lot for the buyers, a quick market update. So this one is going to be all about sellers. Buyers, don't flip it off immediately. This will still have some information for you that you'll probably find valuable when you go out and start searching for your home. Maybe help you put yourself in the seller's shoes a little bit and let you see what they're thinking. But this video is going to be mostly geared towards sellers who are having maybe some hesitancy in listing their houses in this market, and maybe hopefully calm some of their concerns. So I just came back from a meeting. I had a really good positive conversation with a guy who's thinking about selling his house, and he hit me with a good question, and thankfully there's a good answer for it. Let me just spell it out for you. So he said, "Hey Corey, I know you talked about some depreciation in the last couple months. Now, why would I want to sell my house when the market's depreciating? Doesn't that mean I'm going to get less?" And I said, "Well, yeah, in a certain sense, sure. You're looking at some short-term depreciation. Maybe you could have got more at a different point. But what's really important is what we look at long-term. And from this point in this year to this point last year, you're still looking at about 10% appreciation in the value of your home. So you're looking at 10% year over year growth, which is still a massive number in the grand scheme of things as far as real estate market is concerned. So typically in the Northeast where I work, Massachusetts and New Hampshire, you look somewhere in the 6 to 7% year over year appreciation range for a standard market. And that's not including the crazy market that we've had over the last couple years where we saw 15, 18% year over year appreciation. So 10%, while it's not 15 to 18, is still considerably higher than the 6 to 7 that we're accustomed to. So I would certainly say you're in a good position from where you were a year ago to right now. So even if you may be missing out on, 1 or 2% from the depreciation over the last maybe 3-4 months as we saw interest rates spike and various other factors come into play, inflation and whatnot, you're still sitting in a good position as far as your equity in your home's concerned, as long as you bought probably at least a year ago. If you're under that, you might be looking at some more short-term market fluctuation and maybe some concern about the value of your home. And in some cases, it may not matter. Depending on the deal you got on your house, everybody's individual circumstances, of course, different. But what's important is for the majority of people, as long as you bought maybe, I would say 9+ months ago, you're probably still sitting pretty in terms of long-term appreciation value for your property, which is a good sign. If you need to move, then you don't have to panic about being upside down. If you just want to move, maybe something happened in your life, maybe you had another kid, maybe one of your kids went off to college and they're not planning on coming back, maybe you get changed jobs, maybe you just want to change jobs, maybe you don't like the area you're in, whatever it might be, you don't need to feel stuck in a position where you have to be in this house because you can't get out from under it without a short sale. So I had, again, a really positive conversation with this gentleman who asked a fair question. A lot of people are having this concern right now, and that's what I told him. I was like, you're not the first person to ask me that. You're certainly not going to be the last. And then I thought, you know what, let me just make a video on this so then everybody can kind of have the same access to the same information and hopefully ease some of their concerns, because it's not something that we need to be hammering the panic button for over right now or foreseeably in the future either. Even if we continue to have some minuscule or minor depreciation over the next few months, which is possible and probably more than likely, you shouldn't be eating too far into that 10% appreciation year over year. So still a positive sign in a lot of regards. Now, one other interesting thing that we talked about and I wanted to share with you guys is actually something I saw in another realtor's video this morning, and I thought it was very, very interesting. I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, if you're a seller and you are selling in a seller's market, which it was for the last 2 years, maybe, well, really more than that, but a very, very firm and kind of crazy seller market for the last 2 years. If you sell in that market and then you need to go buy in that same market, you've mitigated the advantage that you've gained by just selling in that market and then not having to buy, right? Now, most people need a place to live. So if you sell a house, you obviously necessitate the need to buy a house. If you went and sold and then rented, well, you mitigated some of your profits by spending that money on rent, and then in the hopes that the market came down. Hopefully you timed it right. If you did, maybe you spent a year of that profit on rent, still paid off. You now have the money to go put that money towards a down payment or whatnot for your next home. And right now the market is a little bit more affordable. So it kind of worked out for you. Sure. The crux of the argument, though, is that if you buy and sell in the same market, you're always going to be limited on one side of the exchange. If it's a seller's market, you get a good deal for your house, then you go overpay when you buy. Flip side, if it's a buyer's market, you get a good deal on the house that you buy, but you don't capitalize what you could have made on the sale of your home, typically. So it's just something to consider that it's really hard to time the market to work in your favor on both sides of the deal. If you get a deal on one, you're probably not getting the best deal ever on the other. Now, of course, every situation is unique. As a realtor, we hope to get you the best deal on both sides, but those are kind of the limitations of what we're capable of doing based on the market conditions. Now, your best case scenario is you sold the house, you didn't have to buy anything fantastic. You made out like a bandit, maybe you had a second house already, you just went and lived in that. Awesome. A lot of people did do that. They got rid of their second homes, their vacation homes, or maybe they got rid of their primary home and went and moved to their vacation home now that they can work remote. A lot of that did happen over the last couple of years, the changing work climate with COVID and the pandemic. A lot of stuff has changed that way. But as far as the average typical person who just has one home, needs to buy, needs to sell at the same time, you haven't really been able to capitalize. Now, as we shift into a slowing market, a price lowering market slowly but surely, you're going to see a better deal on the house, but then naturally you're going to make a little bit less. But if you can hit a sweet spot, which kind of is starting to exist right now, where you sell your house and you're not making 100,000 over what you expected, but maybe you were getting 50,000 or 40 or whatever, somewhere in that range, you're still making out with a decent amount of equity and kind of being able to cash in and then put that towards your next property, which you should be able to get lower than you would have 6 months, a year ago. So there's still a sweet spot to kind of fall into right now if you're able to make the move. And I always try to not implore this upon people. I don't want to sound like I'm forcing them, but the important thing to remember right now, and this is January 20th, 2023, if you wait till spring market, everybody's waiting till spring market. It's tough to then sell when you're positioned up against 40 other homes in your town. If you're the only house on in your town, or one of 5 or one of 10, you're exponentially more valuable than when you're one of 40 or one of 50. So if you're thinking about making a move now, instead of waiting to see what happens with the market over the next 3 months, 4 months, I would just say start talking to your realtor now. Call me. I'm prepared to help you out. I'll put a plan together, marketing plan, a comparative market analysis, give you an idea of what we could sell your home for, and then start looking at what else is out there for your potential next move. So it's just something that I think is advantageous to people that they don't quite realize, because that old line of, oh, wait for spring market, that's the hottest market, is so embedded in people's minds that they sometimes forget that supply and demand still exists, and that's the driving force behind one of the biggest tenets of real estate. If you're the only house out there, you have implicitly more value than if your market's flooded. So it's just something to think about that I think kind of people tend to forget or disregard, or maybe just not know the importance of, is that if you don't have competition, your house looks more appealing to the same pool of buyers that will exist 3 months from now, because they're not going to find a house as people hold off until the spring market. So wanted to kind of just hammer that point home a little bit to you. If you're thinking about selling, don't think, oh, it's the winter, it's New England, nobody wants to move. I've got buyers right now who are ready to go, would buy a house tomorrow if the right thing came on. So give me a call. We'll figure out how we can maybe line those two guys up together. Maybe we can get you and a seller and you and a buyer paired up together and make a great deal that everybody walks away happy. Only way to do that is to give me a call and find out. 978-877-2817, or send me an email. You can actually see my email at the bottom of the YouTube page here. It says, click for business inquiries. It's Corey, C-O-R-Y, at Arris Realty, A-R-R-I-S, realty.com. Either way, text me, call me, email me, send up a smoke signal. I'll come running. So hopefully we'll touch base soon. If not, you guys have a great day. Take care. I'll come with another video as soon as I find another thing to talk about tomorrow, I'm sure.